Okay. Let's continue. I'll do one of these, and then I'll do another reading for a different book. I'm not sure which one. The Merchants Guild in Dolan was quite a splendid building facing the main street. When I followed Ugo into the building, a man in his late 40s with a good build that looked like the perfect image of a merchant was waiting. We've been waiting. Now this way. Is it alright for Bella and the others to come along too? Seeing me hesitate a little, he said, your familiars are fine to come too. As expected of a merchant, he really pays attention to the details. We were led to a room behind the reception counter of the guild. There was another room off to the side, and seeing some merchant-like men enter, it seemed like a room for making deals. Just barely, Fell managed to make it into the room. Can't he make himself smaller? You would think he'd be able to, with him being a legendary beast, he'd have the ability to make himself smaller, but I guess not. It's a pleasure to meet you. I am the Guildmaster for the Merchants Guild branch here in Dolan. My name is Adriano. Pleased to meet you. If like that was what would happen, so the Guildmaster himself came all the way to greet me, huh? I'm Makoto. The pleasure is ours. Since I'm a member of the Merchants Guild, at least in name, I should be polite here. Sorry for all the repeated requests, Mr. Ugo. No, I completely understand. Well, then why don't we get down to business? Can I get you to show me the goods? From what I heard from Ugo, you're looking for gems and the like. Is my understanding correct? Yes, please. Now that the subject was on me showing my gems, Adriano said that he'd like to call in an employee to appraise them, to which I agreed. The person that came in was an old man in his mid-60s with sharp eyes that gave off the impression that he was a veteran appraiser that had been in the field for more than 10 years. Well then, I'll bring them out. I produced the gems and similar items that I'd gotten from the dungeon and out onto a soft cloth that had been spread out on a table. I wonder if he's got the appraisal skill. If he's got the appraisal skill, then if he accidentally looks at Makoto, uh-oh, this is not going to be good. First are these rubies. The old man appraiser brought out a magnifying glass and stared into the small ruby I gave him. Wait, so this world has lenses for magnifying glasses and stuff? Oh yeah, I have been seeing glasses every once in a while, haven't I? Well, they've all been people that seemed like they had money, so they're probably quite expensive. Yeah, more than likely. It's a small but brilliant red, as expected of something from the dungeon. Thank goodness it matches up to the old appraiser's standards. Is it alright to keep bringing things out? Rather than bringing them out one at a time, it would be better to just reveal it all at once. No, these are the first gemstones from the dungeon in a while, after all. We'll have to carefully appraise each one. It'd be best for you to take them out one at a time for us so we can take our time. I see. I did as the old appraiser asked and brought out the goods one by one. Emerald, aquamarine, garnets. I produced gemstones one after the other. This is an imperial topaz. When I said that and produced the imperial topaz, the old appraiser threw his eyes open wide. An imperial topaz? How many decades has it been since I've seen this golden color? This is incredible. There are no flaws, and it's larger than the ones I've seen before this, said the old appraiser excitedly, getting closer to the imperial topaz with his magnifying glass. For Ruslan to get this excited, is it that good? Adriano asked the old appraiser. So the old man is named Ruslan, huh? Indeed, this is wonderful. More than anything else, imperial topazes are rare. It's a very precious gemstone. Only those people in the know would get this gemstone, but those who do know of the imperial topaz's worth will definitely want it. Also, this coloring is a slightly reddish gold. Gold is a color of good portents, so even if they don't know of imperial topaz, there will be a lot of people who will want to buy it, I think. Certainly, this clear golden color is very attractive, Adriano said, nodding at Ruslan's explanation. I'm not too familiar with the prices of gemstones, but it seems that the imperial topaz is pretty expensive. Well, if we stop here, this will end up taking even longer. Or wait, if we stop here, this will end up taking even longer. There's still a lot more, so I'll keep bringing them out. Can I keep going? Oh, sorry. Next, please. I brought out the sapphires, alexandrites, and diamonds. Ruslan raised a cry for each new gem I brought out. Whoa, as I thought the gems from the dungeon are of a different level of quality. Are they that different? I'm assuming it's either the quality of the drops, in like treasure chests is more than likely either due to how far you get in the dungeon and or how strong your party or how strong the monsters are. I'm willing to bet it's both. Yeah, are they that different? Yes, first of all, they have almost no flaws at all and have clear, pure colors without any cloudiness in them. Each and every one of them is a prime specimen. So that's what dungeon-produced gems are like. I did think that they'd sell for a lot since they were gemstones, so they're all high quality, huh? Next is a diamond ring I got from a treasure chest. Oh ho ho, so this has been made into a ring from the beginning, I see. The design is a little dated, but the diamond is wonderful. It seems like a dungeon doesn't keep up with the latest designs, huh? Well, of course not. It's a dungeon. Next is a tanzanite necklace. This also came from a treasure chest. The design of this one is just a little behind the times as well, but tanzanite is a rare and valuable gemstone. It has a slightly different color from sapphires, which are also blue, as tanzanite tends to be a little purplish. How exquisite. So the design of this one has some problems too, huh? But it looks like the stone itself is rare and valuable. And the last one, personally, I feel like this one is the most valuable. I'm guessing it's the yellow diamond? It came from a treasure chest on the 29th floor, and it's the largest one. Even someone as disinterested in gems as I am thinks it's pretty. And this one is the last. A yellow diamond that came out of a treasure chest on the 29th floor. I showed the large yellow diamond that had been cut into a teardrop shape to Ruslan. Ruslan reverently took the yellow diamond into his hands and carefully looked it over. Ruslan? In response to Adriano, who called out to Ruslan in surprise, I also looked over at the old man, and of all things, he was crying. Yeah, I think you're right. I think this one is the most expensive and the most rare and best one. I feel so incredibly moved right now. Now, with most of my life behind me, to think that I would even be able to lay my eyes on something like this. In response to Ruslan's words, someone gave an audible gasp. First is the rarity of a colored diamond. Diamonds with colors are truly rare. Not only that, but this strong yellow color with this transparency is excellent. Since golden colors are auspicious, just like the Imperial Topaz, it will probably have crowds of people after it. Also, this size is also magnificent. You'll only rarely find diamonds of this size. Not only that, but it's colored, so I shouldn't have to tell you more about that. Also, this cut can only be described as beautiful. It's not inferior to ones cut by the most skilled craftsmen. In conclusion, I've been looking at gemstones for a long time, but I have never seen one as wonderful as this one. It wouldn't be too far to call this the pinnacle of gemstones in the entire world. I will guarantee this one's quality. The peak. That good, huh? I glanced quickly towards Adriano and Ugo, and the two of them were wide-eyed and were surprised at Ruslan's words. Well then, we will be discussing what to buy, so please wait for a little while, said Adriano, managing to regroup from the shock and taking Ruslan out of the room. While we were waiting, an employee from the Merchants Guild came in and served some tea. This tea is great. It's like Darjeeling tea. But it's not like a cheap one from a tea bag, but a high-quality one that's bought as a souvenir. As expected, after showing them something like that, of course the Merchants Guild would put out the best tea, said Ugo, taking a gulp out of the tea. Huh? This is the highest quality of tea? Yes, it's called Dolren tea, since it can only be found in a province named Dolren in the kingdom of Ermin. Ooh, I see. I waited for a while, drinking down the highest quality Dolren tea. Sorry for keeping you waiting. With those words, Adriano and Ruslan stepped into the room. Well then, as for what we want to buy... Hold on, let me just make sure this stupid thing is recording, because I have just woken up, and thus I might not be completely awake. Okay. Yeah, because I'd hate to get completed with the dang recording, and then find I wasn't recording. That would suck. Summarizing what Adriano wanted to buy, it was a ruby small, emerald small, aquamarine small, garnet small, amethyst small ×2, peridot small, a gold ingot, imperial topaz medium, diamond large, diamond medium ×2, diamond small ×2, and the diamond ring. There were a lot of diamonds in the list, so it seemed like diamonds were popular in this world too. Even so, it looks like they didn't reach for the yellow diamond, huh? We want to buy the items we just listed. Is that alright? When I answered in the affirmative, Adriano started explaining the prices. The ruby small is 180 gold coins, the emerald small will be 170, the aquamarine small 140, the garnet small 120, the 2 amethyst small are 80 gold each and will total 160 gold. The peridot small is 110 gold, the gold ingot is worth 300 gold, well of course, because I'm probably assuming that's probably used with craftsmen to make like jewelry and stuff. The Imperial Topaz Medium is worth 1,600 gold. Whoa. The Diamond Large, 1,500 gold. Damn, that's a big jump. Well, of course, because it went from small gems to large gems. The 2 Diamonds Medium are 750 gold each for 1,500 gold total. The 2 Diamonds Small will be 500 gold each, totaling 1,000 gold. And the Diamond Ring will be 680 gold. The total for all of this is 7,460 gold coins. These are my prices. Are they to your satisfaction? Gems sure are amazing. They're this expensive in this world, too. He said 7,460 gold. Amazing. Yes, it's fine. Please wait a minute. When I tried to give my assent, Ugo cut in. About your prices. The price for the Imperial Topaz and the diamonds are clearly far too low. Too low? Dude, are you sure? I think that's expensive. I am, in fact, working as the sub-guildmaster at the Adventurers Guild, and after all, in order to expand my knowledge base, I've made sure to see and listen to a lot of different subjects. The Imperial Topaz is one of those subjects, believe it or not. The Imperial Topaz is another name, the Phantom Gem. Among gemstone enthusiasts, it's an extremely rare, highly esteemed object, right? And everyone knows that for gems, the larger it is, the more valuable. At this size, it isn't only 1,600 gold for the Phantom Gem a little strange? The same goes for the diamonds. Diamonds are an extremely popular gem, and there's a shortage of stock everywhere. You'll have to put in some more flavor on that price. Not only that, but the price is even too low for something not taken from the dungeon. Especially the large diamond. That one is the most undervalued. I've seen a diamond about this big that didn't come from the dungeon priced at 1,500 gold before. With that in mind, paying 1,500 gold for a large diamond that came from the dungeon is just strange. These prices make a mockery of negotiations. Really? Okay. Well, I mean, you know best. Makoto has no clue about all this, so of course he wouldn't know. Oh, he's going to bat for you, little boy. Oh, really? Wow, good thing Ugo was with me. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but if it was Elrond, he probably wouldn't have noticed. Maybe. We don't know. I had no idea about the values of gems, so if it wasn't for Ugo, I would have been totally just said, okay. Makoto, you don't really need to sell these gems right now, do you? Ugo turned the subject of the conversation towards me, and I nodded. I'm not really troubled for money at the moment, so it's not like I really need money right now. Or anything. If that's the case, you can also sell these at an adventurer's guild in a different town. You're an adventurer after all, Sir Makoto. This should have been the case in the first place, so wouldn't it be fine if you did that? He's right, that might be the way to go. Wait a second, please. You say that Sir Makoto is an adventurer, but isn't he also registered at the Merchants Guild? So argued Adriano. Ugo was a little surprised hearing that I was registered to the Merchants Guild. But you know, Adriano, just so what if I'm registered at the Merchants Guild? Could you possibly be saying that since I'm registered to this guild, I should just let you buy them as is? Isn't that asking just a little too much? I'm not troubled for money, but after hearing Ugo's explanation, I'm feeling like I'm being tricked here. It's true that I'm registered at the Merchants Guild, but I'm only iron ranked. I'm pretty okay at cooking, so I registered thinking it would be nice to set up a stand or something. But now I've got more familiar, so I'm acting mainly as an adventurer nowadays. It could be that I might not renew my membership at the Merchants Guild. Ooh. You threatening to not come back? Okay. It wasn't much, but I tried supporting Ugo. In reality, thanks to Fel and the others, I've basically been solely an adventurer. And in any case, of the two, I've mostly been in the care of the Adventurers Guild, too. Yeah, the only merchant you've been with is Lambert and them. And I think those are the only ones you would probably work with, considering they've the ones that actually been very hospitable to you. Then again, we don't know if he's been getting scammed there, too. We don't know. There you have it. If you keep treating our adventurers this way, we'll have to think up our own countermeasures, you see. Ugo said in an unfriendly smile showing on his face, glaring for a while at the similarly smiling Adriano. Uh-oh, you threatening to not send your adventurers there anymore, eh? That's not good. So you better be working hard to keep them in your favor. Because you'd be losing out on a lot of, especially in this case, you're going to be losing out on a lot of money if you don't pay what the dang gems are worth. Or at least mostly what they're worth, because I know they have to make a profit. That's why they don't always buy, how much they're worth, essentially. Because they have to make a profit. They can't just break even. But still, undervaluing it like that is not a good thing. Because if they had just been regular gemstones, not from a dungeon, those prices probably would have been fine. But since they're from a dungeon, that's what makes it so insulting. They're of higher quality. It was almost as if there was some invisible sparks jumping in between the two. However, this time Adriano was at a slight disadvantage. Adriano said, "Please wait a little while," and started whispering with Rustlin. "Excuse us. About our previously stated price, we're thinking of revising it a little bit. The new price for the Imperial Topaz will be 2,100 gold pieces. The Diamond Large, 2,000 gold. The 2 Diamonds Medium will be 1,000 each, for a total of 2,000. The 2 Diamonds Small will be 700 each, for a total of 1,400. Is that still undercutting it on the diamonds? The 2 little diamonds? I don't know. And the diamond ring will now be 800 gold. This changes the total to 9,480 gold pieces. How about it? Oh, it jumped quite a bit somehow. Is this fine? Shooting a glance at Ugo, I saw him nod firmly. Great, this looks fine then. Yes, please. When I said that, Adriano breathed a sigh of relief. Well then, as for the payment, given the price, would it be alright to pay in white gold and large gold coins? Ooh, this is going to be good. You're going to get some white gold. Yes, that'll be fine. When I agreed, Adriano stood up. Now that I think about it, this would be the first time I've seen a white gold coin. When Adriano returned, he was carrying some coinage that glowed blue-white on a tray. Well, then with 94 white gold coins and 8 large gold coins, the total is 9,480 gold. Please confirm the amount. It looks like white gold is made by mixing is that supposed to be by? My mixing mithril with gold, huh? And there's 94 of them along with 8 large gold coins. Yes, the amount is correct. Well then, here it is. I took the money and handed over the gems. Yes, this is also correct. Russell took the gems and left the room. How quick? Well, of course, you don't want to be leaving things. You don't want to keep these things on your person too long, so one might steal them. We've done some good business. Thank you very much, said Adriano. The pleasure was ours, I said that, and tried to return with Ugo, but I was stopped by Adriano. Sir Makoto, you're registered through the Merchants Guild, and you say you're pretty good at cooking, so I have something I'd like to borrow your knowledge for. Huh? What could it be? It seemed that Adriano was hoping to hear about a new recipe. His problem was that currently he only had food that could basically be found at any restaurant. I guess it should be expected of the guildmaster of the Merchants Guild. Even if you fall, you won't get up for free, is it, Adriano? Well, they did raise the price of the sale by quite a bit. Though that was probably thanks to Ugo pointing things out from now on. They'd probably offer me much better deals. So if it was just thinking of a dish, I could do it. Listening to our conversation, Ugo understood that it had nothing to do with the Adventurers Guild and quickly excused himself. Cooking is just boiling or grilling, so it can't really be helped that everything turns out the same, though. On top of that, for seasoning, there was basically just salt and a little bit of pepper and some herbs, so it might have been inevitable that every place ended up with the same food. It doesn't seem like you're from this country, Sir Makoto. So since you can cook, I'd be thankful if you could teach me something new. This place has a lot of adventurers, so something that pairs well with alcohol would be even better. Oh. The thing is, though, if he asks to help you learn a new recipe, it has to be using things that you have in this world. He can't use things from his skill because they wouldn't have any way of recreating it. If I could use the seasonings I get from my online supermarket, then I could bring out any number of good dishes, but I can't. Just salt and pepper for seasoning. From what he said, it seemed like I should also avoid expensive ingredients as much as possible, so pepper might actually be impossible. I get not using expensive ingredients since normal restaurants don't use them either, but something that pairs well with alcohol, this is hard. Oh yeah, Adriano did just say that cooking is just boiling or grilling, didn't he? If that's the case. Mr. Adriano, what about frying? Frying? What kind of cooking is that? You fry food in oil. It's like boiling in oil, I guess. Frying in oil. Boiling. I don't really get it. You would have to show him. Oh, looks like there really isn't any knowledge of frying here. If that's the case, then I've thought of the perfect dish. The most common oil in this world was olive oil. Apparently there's a huge area that produced it which was thriving, so the price wasn't that high. As for salt, since this country was bordered by the sea, it wasn't that expensive either. Thinking like that, the dish I thought of wouldn't be that pricey, and it went well with alcohol. I even think it'd be perfect with the ale that was so common in this world. I did think of a dish, so I should try making it. Oh, that would be great. Everyone will probably want to know about this new dish, so shall I call people over? That'll be fine, but it's a little embarrassing to be watched by people, but I guess there's something for it. More importantly, I need a large space to bring out the magic stove. When I asked about that, for some reason the result was that I would be doing my demonstration on the large space in front of the reception desk of the guild. When I told him that I'd need olive oil and salt, he immediately procured it. Well, then let's get cooking, I guess. First, let's get this magic stove out in the open. When I did so, the gallery cried in surprise. After that, I could hear people saying things like, that's a pretty huge item box, huh? Or, that's the newest model of magic stove. I'm just gonna have to ignore them. Yeah, they're the best. This time, I'd be making French fries! French fries! Yummy! Always good with alcohol. If it's fries, the cooking will be simple and the price of the ingredients won't be that high, and it's perfect for a snack with alcohol. First up is the potatoes, right? I still had the potatoes I bought before I went into the dungeon, so I picked some that hadn't sprouted yet and washed them. Dude, doesn't time not pass in your item box? Surely they wouldn't have had even a chance of getting near sprouting yet, right? If I remember right, they're still called potatoes here, I think. After thoroughly washing the potatoes and wiping them, cut them like this. If it's properly washed, you can even leave the skin on. This time, I'll be cutting the potatoes like this, but you can cut them thinner or thicker as you like to change how it feels to eat. Please try experimenting on your own for that. Also, since you all use potatoes a lot, you should already know, but if the potato has eyes, cut them out and peel the skin deeper than normal, okay? With these words, I left the skin on the potatoes and started cutting them. Although the price of the ingredients wasn't high, it would probably be a good idea to not use that much oil, so it'd take a while to cook. I guess I'll just fry them in a pan. Then put the potatoes in a frying pan and pour oil in it until it lightly submerges your potatoes. Once that's done, put it on medium heat and let the heat slowly warm up the pan. Don't you normally heat up the oil first and then put in the fries? Maybe it's different in Japan, I guess. I don't know. The magic stove lit up with a sound. Now let's just leave things like this for a while. So once the oil starts bubbling, like this, and the potatoes start to float, turn the heat to high and fry until the surface is crunchy and the food starts to smell good. Once that's done, take it out and make sure to get rid of any excess oil. Then sprinkle on some salt and it's done. If you're worried that the insides aren't properly cooked, then once the potatoes start to float, you can take that one out, split it open, and check. However, doing things this way will take some time, so preheating the oil pan is also a way to do it. For oil, I used olive oil just now, but animal fat works as well. I think it'd be great to experiment with that along with ways to cut them. Also, it uses oil, so be careful of fires. The method I just used was really only for home cooking after all. If you are making it for a restaurant, then you'd need to make a larger amount. And the cutting style and oil all made for different textures and flavors. At least that's what I think. In my opinion, testing that stuff out for oneself would be best. Well then, please try some. When I served up the freshly fried potatoes, the gallery all gathered around. It's hot, so be careful. Everyone was trying out the freshly made fries while blowing through their mouths. Oh, this outside is crispy, but the inside is nice and fluffy. It's great. The salt works well, and I can't stop my hand from just reaching out for more. Yeah, that's the bad thing. They're gonna be gone. This really does seem like it'd go great with ale. More than anything, the ingredients don't cost much, which is nice. Not only that, but it's simple, so we can even put them on the menu today if we wanted. Looks like it's generally going over well. Dang it. Well, it's not like I've never heard of anyone who hates fries, I know. All that's left is to change how you cut it, like I said before, but they'll have to do that part by themselves. Man, Sir Makoto, thank you, truly. I'm in awe at your idea to fry things in oil. You can actually do that with meat, too. Not only that, but the ingredients aren't too expensive, and it goes well with alcohol. For you to teach us of such a wonderful dish, I'm truly grateful, Adriana said after approaching me. Looking at these smiling faces that continue from beginning to end, it looks like the fries are good. I did think that it was a little too simple, but this was the only thing that came to mind for something that was easy to make and only used ingredients available here. If they were this happy over me teaching them how to make fries, then I'm happy too. It's not much, but my guild will pay for your renewal fees for the next year. Really? That's great. Just for teaching them how to make fries, my next renewal was made free. That was lucky. Well, then my business here is done, so I guess I should clean up, wake up the familiars, and leave. I'm surprised they didn't smell the food cooking. All three of them got bored and took a nap. Now then, once we're back, I'll have to cook for them too, huh? Well, then I'll take my leave. Thank you very much. Saying my goodbyes to Adriana, we left the Merchants Guild. First up is everyone's food, huh? I had made a lot of ground meat out of orc and bloody hornbull yesterday, so I was thinking of using that. I'll be making meatloaf. Meatloaf yummy. When I mulled over what to make, I figured that meatloaf would be a good idea since I already had the ground meat, and since meatloaf uses the oven, I can use the burners for something else. I was thinking of using them to steam rice, as well as make some minced meat with soy sauce for storage. It'd be convenient to have some made after all. It's tasty and goes great with rice. You can make it into a rice bowl or even pack the meat into a rice ball. Well then, let's get cooking. The meatloaf I'll be making was a simple one using only store-bought ingredients. As long as you could get stuff from the supermarket, it was easy to make. I already had onions, ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, red wine, and panko, but I had to buy everything else. That means I ended up with bacon, frozen mixed vegetables, packs of hard-boiled quail eggs, chicken eggs, butter, and also a pound cake mold. Oh yeah, because you need eggs for the meatloaf. I forgot. I was like, what are the eggs for? The only thing I don't remember putting in meatloaf is vegetables, and bacon. I'll keep this in mind for my mom's own meatloaf recipe. After washing the rice and while I was letting it soak, I started making the meatloaf. After pouring some panko into a bowl, add some milk and let it soak. Meanwhile, mince some onions, melt some butter in a frying pan, and start cooking the minced onions. Once the onions go a little clearer, add in the frozen mixed vegetables while they're still frozen and cook until the vegetables thaw. Oh, never mind, I forgot. My mom doesn't usually add vegetables in it, too. She just uses, I think, hamburger meat, and sometimes if she gets fancy, she'll add turkey meat, too. The onions, the ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, egg, and I think, she uses oatmeal instead of panko as for the texture. And I think that's what and the egg, the egg. So, I think that's what she does for her meatloaf. I never thought of using bacon. Huh. Add in the orc and bloody hornbull mixed ground meat, along with the cooked minced onions and mixed vegetables, as well as some eggs, salt and pepper, and also nutmeg, if I remember the recipe correctly, and mix together until the recipe becomes sticky. This part is basically the same as if you were baking a hamburg steak. Just about the only thing that's different is the presence of the mixed vegetables. Once the base of the meatloaf is done, spread some bacon into the pound cake mold. Okay, that goes on the bottom, okay. Then pack in about half of the meatloaf base tightly into the mold so as to push out any bits of air trapped inside. When that was done, line up 2 quail eggs each in the middle of the pound cake mold and push in the rest of the meatloaf mix. I never done that before. I just used the egg as a, crack in some eggs to be able to mix with the meatloaf. I never thought of putting whole eggs in. I used quail eggs this time, but of course regular boiled eggs would be just fine. Ew, yuck, no. Fold in any pieces of bacon that have been pushed outside of the mold, cover the top with aluminum foil, and start baking in the oven. After 30 minutes and 200 degrees would be best, but there was no way the oven in this magic stove would have a temperature setting, so the only choice was to watch it and see how it does. Whoops, I need to get to cooking the rice. While cooking the rice on the burner on top, the meatloaf was baking in the oven on the bottom. Since it was big, I could make quite a lot of meatloaf all at once. It should be just about done. I opened the oven and tried sticking a skewer in the meatloaf. I can only see clear meat juice here, so this is done. After that, I just needed to put on the sauce. I moved the built-up extra meat juice from the pound cake to a pot. There, I added in butter and some ketchup, chuno sauce, and red wine. After boiling it all together for a while, the sauce was done too. I started cutting the meatloaf. Phil and Sue would get 3 portions of the pound cake molded meatloaf, and Dora-chan would get 2. I kept the end pieces for myself, though. After lining them up in the dishes, I put on the sauce, and they were finished. Hey, I'm done. When I started up the dishes with the meatloaf in them, everyone quickly started eating. There are vegetables in this. Well, it's not inedible, and the taste is alright. Dude, it ain't gonna kill you to have vegetables, good God. Just how much of a meat supremacist is Fel? Wow, sure there's mixed vegetables in there, but they're all chopped to bits. Come on, just eat it. Wait, he's complaining, but he sure is eating a whole lot anyway. Yeah, this thick tare is good, yeah, it's pretty damn tasty. Dora-chan's tongue has gotten pretty sharp lately. That thick sauce is perfect, right? I also think sauce with about this consistency is best for ground meat. Wow, there's something in the middle. Is it an egg? You know, Suey loves eggs, so Suey is happy there's both meat and eggs. Oh, I see. So you love it when there's eggs, huh? It might be a good idea to make scotch eggs for Suey next time. I wasn't sure how it would turn out since it has been a while since I made one, but in the end, Fel and Dora-chan were both moving the full food down, and Suey was entranced by it, so it seems like the meatloaf was a success. Now let's see, I should eat too. It looked good. The surface of the cut showed the 2 lined up quail eggs, and it was putting on a somewhat fancy air. Now then, wipe up some sauce and nom nom nom. Ooh, the sauce is great. The butter and red wine make for a thick and rich sauce, and it pairs perfectly with the meatloaf. The only sauce we usually put on meatloaf is ketchup. That's what I usually do anyway. It's the same with hamburg steaks, but thick sauces like this really do make me think that they go best with ground meat. The vegetable medley mixed in adds a lot of texture, which is also great. The quail eggs are also a real treat in here. It'll be fine even without them, but the eggs really do bring out a luxurious feel to the dish. Also, the bacon surrounding it adds saltiness and flavor. I might ask Mom to put bacon in our meatloaf next time we have one. More. But Fel and Suey wanted more, huh? It looked like Dora-chan was satisfied with what he had and was lying face up saying something like, "Man, I sure ate." But I was fully prepared. The oven was large, so I could make a whole lot at once. This magic stove was super convenient. It was great that I bought it, really. After that, Fel and Suey had 2 more servings and were full, but Dora-chan asked for the jiggly stuff, so using that opportunity, it was now time for dessert. Of course, Dora-chan had the pudding, Fel had his favorite strawberry shortcake, and Suey wanted something different again, so I went with a milk crepe this time. They must all be part of the sweets go into a different stomach camp, since it looked like they were enjoying the desserts immediately. Even though everyone was finished eating, I still had lots to do. I needed to steam rice and also make the minced meat with the soy sauce for storage. I used the burner next to the one I was using to steam rice to make it. After putting some oil in a pot and heating it up, add in the minced orc meat and cook it until it starts forming distinct clumps. Then throw in soy sauce, mirin, cooking sake, and grated ginger. The kind that comes in tubes is okay, and cook until all the liquid is gone and it's complete. All that's left is to cool it down and preserve it in an appropriately sized container. Not only was it really simple, it was perfect for a small side dish, so making some beforehand was really convenient. And for the meat, mixed meat, beef, or even chicken worked just fine. I'd personally been saved by this meal a lot in the days just before payday. Woo, this much should be fine for today. Mr. Oogle! Mr. Oogle really treated me well today. If he wasn't around, then I would have ended up selling the gems for too low a price. Personally, I'm not in need of money thanks to Fel, and I don't have a lot of knowledge on gems at all. So if Oogle hadn't spoken up, I would have just been fine with the first price they gave. More likely, it would have been the same if Elrond was the one with me instead, since he seems useless for anything other than dungeon dragons. That is true. If someone asked me whether or not I was angry at the Merchants Guild at all for that, I'd have to say that I was, but from their perspective, of course they definitely want to get it all for as cheap as possible, because yeah, they gotta make a profit. So with that in mind, I can't really say that the price they first gave was really wrong either. It's not like I thought that they were trying to totally rip people off. However, I'd painfully experienced just how much of a difference some knowledge makes. If I had known as much as Oogle did, I'd be able to fight back. But that kind of knowledge didn't just come immediately, so if I wanted to sell things off at a proper price, it'd probably be best to stick to selling it to adventurers guilds from now on. Well, leaving that aside for now, I really was treated well by Mr. Oogle today, so I was thinking of a way to thank him. Yeah, the only thing that came straight to my mind for these sorts of things really is just sweets. I did hear in passing that Oogle had both a wife and a child, so something that he can share with his family would probably make him even happier. But still, it's not like I can just straight up hand him a cake or something from Fumiya. So it would have to be handmade, but even though I cook quite a bit, I still haven't really touched pastries or confections much. As I kept thinking on it, I happened to look over at the pound cake mold I used to make meatloaf. Ah, right. I did somehow manage to make a pound cake before, didn't I? Don't you dare underestimate my history part-timing in restaurants. I worked part-time at a cafe while I was a student, and that place was pretty famous for having really delicious coffee. There, the most popular cake set was delicious coffee paired with either a pound cake, chiffon cake, or rare cheesecake. These cake sets weren't just popular with the girls. Old men were also fans of it. I was too. Coffee also pairs great with simple handmade cakes. At any rate, I did make the cakes there before, so I do, at least somewhat, have skill in making pound cakes, chiffon cakes, and rare cheesecakes. It was quite a long while ago, but I still remember the steps, and I already have a pound cake mold, so let's try making one. The only thing I was worried about was that the ingredients could all end up being from my world, bought through my skill, so he'd end up being affected by it and have his stats buffed. But from my experience cooking food like this before, it shouldn't be that pronounced, I think. It'd be fine if I just appraised the finished product and quit while I'm ahead if it's way too much, so for now, I decided to just try making one. What I needed was unsalted butter, sugar, low viscosity wheat flour, and eggs, and also baking powder and vanilla essence. I already had eggs, but everything else I had to buy using my skill. I also picked up a whisk and rubber spatula. I used a hand mixer in the store, but that wouldn't be possible here. The basic ingredients of a pound cake were flour, butter, eggs, and sugar, and the basic way to cook it was just to stir it all together equally. It was really simple, so it was easy to memorize. In the store, we also added baking powder to give it a lighter and airier feel. Also, we added vanilla essence for fragrance. I was planning to faithfully recreate that place's pound cake. Really? I'm already almost done? No, I'm not. I guess I started later than I thought I did. I didn't even pay attention to when I started. First are the preparations. Warm the unsalted butter and eggs to room temperature, sieve some flour and baking powder together, and lay a baking sheet in the pound cake mold. Once all that's done, put some warm unsalted butter in a loaf or into a bowl and whisk until it forms a white, creamy consistency. Next, trade the whitened butter and mix with sugar until it becomes fluffy take the whitened butter and mix it with sugar until it becomes fluffy and airy. At that point, take the warm beaten eggs and add it in and repeat mixing before also adding in a little vanilla essence. Once the eggs are added, if it starts separating, the whole thing will become a mess, so be careful. Then add in the seed powder mixture and quickly mix it all together with a rubber spatula. Once it stops being powdery, you're fine. Pour the completed dough into the pound cake mold and poke a dent into the middle before tapping on the sides of the mold to try to get rid of any trapped air. Bake it at around 170 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes. After around 10 minutes in the oven, squirt with a knife. Doing so will make it look better when it's done. I kept watch on it while it was cooking in the magic stove, and once I thought it was done, I poked a skewer inside to check. Yep, looks done. Once it was done, I popped it out of the mold and cooled it off before wrapping it and putting it in storage. When handing it over to Mr. Oogle, I'll remove the skewer and put it on a plate. Oh yeah, it might be nice to buy a basket with a lid to put it in and just hand that over, huh? Even with Elrond being Elrond, he did also help me, so I made a portion for him too. If he was like Mr. Oogle and had a wife or children, he might have been happy for the sweets, but Elrond was said to be a broken-hearted single. Aww. Poor guy. Well, then again, what woman would want to keep up with him and his dragon obsession, dude? Alright, I need to appraise it. Pound cake. A pound cake made out of ingredients from another world. But raises magic power by 1% for 5 minutes. 1% for 5 minutes, huh? This much won't really be a problem. It should be fine. Now I have to get to the Adventurers Guild tomorrow to get my money, so I'll just hand them over then. It'd be fine to just buy a lidded basket on the way there if there happens to be a store that had one. We were walking down the road toward the Adventurers Guild. I smell cooking meat. Val said, his nose twitching. He's right. Dora-chan, who was flying, also had his nose twitching. Following the trail of the smell, we found it coming from a stall outside the store I was going to stop by on the way to the Adventurers Guild. Val and Dora-chan naturally made their way towards the stall. Whoa! The man running the stall was surprised at the sudden appearance of Val, the huge wolf, and Dora-chan, the tiny dragon. Sorry, they're my familiars. It's okay. Calling out to him, I saw the obviously relieved face the guy was making. Oh, I see. It scared me. I thought that some monsters appeared in the middle of town. Val and Dora-chan's eyes were nailed onto the skewers that were being grilled in the stall. Lured by the smell, even Sui jumped out of the bag. She's a slime, but it looks like it can smell just fine, huh? It was a mystery how Sui did it, but Sui was already a ridiculous kind of slime anyway. After all, Sui could make medicine and blacksmith too. At this point, I'm pretty sure Sui could just about do anything. Still, though, all three of them were paying too much attention to those skewers, even though I previously properly gave them breakfast in the morning. Want some? I tried asking the three of them as they were basically camped out in formation in front of the stall staring at the meat. Yes, totally. Eat! Came everyone's telepathic responses. How many? I can do 30. I can do about 15. Stewie can also eat 30. Damn, you all really eat a lot. Excuse me, can I get 6 skewers? That was enough for all three of them with one for me. I got done in by the smell of the charcoal grill too. The skewers here had a little extra meat on them with 3 pieces each and were 7 iron coins a skewer, including an annoyance fee for Fel and the others crowding the stall. I handed over 6 silver to the man running it. You can keep the change. Really? Thanks, man. Then I'll just hand over what's finished now and I'll grill the rest. Saying so, the guy handed over the 50 skewers that were already finished. I produced some dishes from my item box and I separated the meat from their skewers and onto the plates. For now, I gave Fel and Sui 20 each and Dora-chan 10. Here you go. Everyone immediately jumped on the food. This is horned rabbit meat, I see. There is a world of difference compared to your cooking, but well, it's not like this is inedible. What do you even mean, not inedible? Weren't you the one that got lured by the smell? Don't you feel sorry for that guy comparing this cooking to his? It's a little hard and there's only salt, but it hasn't been that long since it's been grilled, so it's not like I can't eat it. You say that too, Dora-chan, but you were also drawn here by the smell. The meat master cooks in the most delicious way. Or cooks is the most delicious, but this meat is a little hard, but it's savory in its own way and good. Thanks, Sui, the charcoal grill is its selling point, huh? It does make the whole thing smell and thus taste better. I was wondering what meat it was, so this is horned rabbit, huh? According to the guy manning the grill, horned rabbit was a plenty popular meat. Apparently for selling skewers, this was the most common. After hearing more, seemed like the guy had just recently moved to Dolan and just started his stall business today. Selling this much on my first day bodes well, said the guy happily. All these guys eat tons after all. In the end, I bought a lot. Here you go, it's done. Taking the finished skewers from the guy, I added another 10 each to Fel and Sui's dishes and another 5 to Dora-chan's. It's hot, so be careful. Now then, I should try this myself. The only seasoning here was salt, but since it was grilled with charcoal, the fragrance was great and it was pretty good. It was tougher than the meat we usually eat, but this is certainly appealing in its own right. More than anything, the smell from the charcoal grilling was irresistible. Charcoal grilled meat is tasty. I wonder how good it would be if I charcoal grilled orc meat or bloody hornbull meat or wyvern meat. If I make full use of the seasonings I can get with my skill, I should be able to make it even better too. I want to have a barbecue. Meat is good, but a seafood barbecue would be nice right now. And right now we're heading for the fishing town of Berlin too. I might want a barbecue grill. If my online supermarket has the same barbecue grill that I saw in the home center, I'd buy it immediately, but they probably don't. I tried looking around and I didn't see anything after all. Well, even if they did, I probably couldn't hope for one that was large enough. Fel and the others were around, so if I didn't have a large one, it wouldn't be of much use. Could I get Sui to make one for me? No, that's no good. Every time I had Sui make something for me, I did so after showing it an example of what I wanted and asking if I could do it, but I didn't have an example on me. I remember the shape of the barbecue grill I saw before, so I could draw it and try explaining it to Sui, but that'd probably be too hard a hurdle. I want a barbecue grill, but I guess I'll just have to give up on that. It's too bad, though. Now then, looks like Fel and the others are done eating. After cleaning up the plates, let's stop by the store to pick up a basket before heading to the Adventurers Guild. Okay, I think I'm going to continue with this last one. Ooh, we get to find out them getting away! Gossip. 3 heroes. Escape from the kingdom. 1. Recently, Rio had been acting strange. She didn't really listen to us at all. I didn't like admitting this, but between the 3 of us, Rio was the one who was usually the most reasonable. And even so, recently she'd been at Leonard's beck and call. Rio was in love with Leonard, and I knew that people liked to align themselves with the people they liked, but it was still kind of strange. How should I put it? Rather than it being like interacting with the person you love, it's more like, right, like a master and servant. I couldn't shake that feeling. I tried telling this to Kanan too, and it seemed like she felt the same way, but she said, maidens in love are just like that, and didn't pay it any mind. However, with what happened recently, even Kanan couldn't just explain it away anymore. As for what happened, it occurred while we were out on a routine monster hunting quest in order to raise our levels. The request we'd accepted from the Adventurers Guild was to exterminate a band of orcs that had infested a village near the capital. Our methods involved Leonard coming up with a plan, telling us about it, and then we would go out to hunt the monsters. But this time things didn't go as planned. Kanan came forward a little late. In the end, we managed to exterminate the orcs, but thanks to Kanan being late, we had a little more trouble than we should have. Kanan got reprimanded by the knights and told to exercise more caution. Kanan herself knew that it was her own fault, so she accepted it honestly. Kanan even said herself, "Today was my fault. I'll just have to do better next time." She was reflecting on it seriously. Even so, as soon as it became just us three, Kanan, Rio, and I, Rio started blaming Kanan. "Why didn't you do as Leonard said? Are you stupid, Kanan?" Starting with those words, she threw around other words like fool as well. Angry like a raging fire, Rio laid into Kanan with the dirtiest words she could muster. Kanan and I were simply confused by how far she was taking it. Rio wasn't the type to do this kind of thing. At the very least, she wouldn't berate her friends like this. Thanks to that, Kanan finally recognized that Rio was being weird. When Kanan and I discussed why that happened, we couldn't think of any standout reason. I feel like it's gotta be the stress. Yeah, that makes sense. We did just get thrown here straight from modern Japan after all. But if that's the case, then we're the same. Yeah, for just Rio to become like that. Yeah, it's not stress. It's gotta be an outlier here. It's that stupid bracelet. Get it off her hand. The idea that the stress was the biggest reason for her behavior just came up and was the best one we had, but neither of us were really convinced by that. In the end, neither of us could come up with a compelling reason, and we spent our days in worry. It was at that time I ended up hearing the knights talking. Rio's turning out well. Yes, she's loyal to what I say. It might be about time for us to put the dominance bracelet on either Kanan or Kaito or Kanan now. If that's the case, I'll put it on Kanan first. I want to hurry up and finish this annoying job after all. As long as I get this on her, she's all mine. After all, the only ones who can take these things off are us, the masters. Uh-oh. Then next would be Kanan, and lastly, Kaito, right? If I can put the bracelet on Kaito, I can get promoted too. I'll definitely get it done. I hid my breathing and listened in on Leonard, Aaron, and Louise's conversation. When the 3 of them finally left, I breathed out a sigh of relief. A dominance bracelet. From that name, it probably forces the wearer to comply to orders like a slave, right? And they put that kind of thing on Rio. I finally realized what this country was up to. They were trying to use us up like slaves. Finally, you come to that conclusion. Makoto sensed that from the start that something was up. I immediately talked about it with Kanan. At first, she didn't believe me, but she finally did after appraising Rio's. Why didn't you use that before? I would have done it the first thing to see if it had any kind of, buffing stats or anything like that. I'm surprised they didn't. Like, 'cause I would have been wondering, does it have any, buffing abilities? Does it, make my magic better or something? I would have done that first thing. When I tried using appraisal on the bracelet, it read Dominance Bracelet. It was the same whether Kanan or Ira praised it. It was probably because our levels were still low, but we were only able to read the name. But nothing good could come out of anything named something like a dominance bracelet. At any rate, we need to leave this country as soon as possible. I think so too, but what about Rio? From what you said, Kaito, only the master can take it off, right? That master must be Leonard, and he'd probably never take it off. Yeah, he probably wouldn't. You're right. Anyway, we'll just have to think of a solution, but there might not be enough time. Because Aaron was to put one of these on me too, right? Yeah, if the situation ever goes that way, just put it off however you can, but I think it'll only work once. It's them we're talking about, so if you have to do it 2 or 3 times, then they'll probably figure out that we know about the bracelets. If it comes to that, they'll try to immediately put it on us by force. Yes, you're probably right. If he ever tries to put the bracelet on me, I'll do whatever I can to put it off. A few days after that conversation, Aaron made an approach just like we were watching out for. Kanan somehow managed to get him to back off, but it seemed like there wouldn't be a next time. Kanan, this is going to be pretty harsh, but please think of just running away with me and leaving Rio behind. As for Rio's situation, no solution came to mind in the end. While feeling guilty and sorry for Rio, I could only figure out a way to run away. But just Kanan and I leaving Rio behind, since we were the only ones with free will. Kanan must have not come up with anything regarding Rio, so she only quietly replied, got it. With little time to spare, Kanan and I started discussing where to go, even if we did leave the country. We did things like sneak into the library to look at maps, and after gathering as much information as we could, we figured out the neighboring country of Marvel was probably the best place to go. In reality, I wanted to head for the kingdom of Ehrman or Leonhardt, but both of those were too far. I mean, you could start at Marvel and work your way to Leonhardt or Ehrman. We were said to be heroes, but we weren't stupid enough to think that made us invincible. We knew that there were people and monsters that were stronger than we were. Assuming that we headed for either the kingdom of Ehrman or Leonhardt, it would all be over if we encountered a strong monster on the way. And even if we headed for Ehrman or Leonhardt from the kingdom of Reedseeger, any country on the way would be too close to here. When I thought of being caught on the way there and being made to go back, or being caught up by people chasing us, we ended up deciding that it would be best to first head to a country where Reedseeger couldn't reach. Since that was the case, the neighboring kingdom of Marvel would be the fastest. Right now, the kingdoms of Reedseeger and Marvel were close to war. The openings of hostilities was only a matter of time, and in that state, there was no way Marvel would ever help Reedseeger. Even if it was found out that we were heroes, they probably wouldn't return us to Reedseeger anyway. At any rate, we decided to look for an opening to leave, and then head for the kingdom of Marvel. So we would be able to run at any time. We started to stockpile food and clothing. The only regret was that we'd be leaving Rio behind. Oh, I feel bad for them. I hope they're able to get Rio out of there quickly, because they're not going to be able to take the bracelet off. Okay, I'm going to have to end this one off here. I'll see you guys in the next video.